Well, recently I bought a new deer hunting rifle. This is a CBA Cascade chambered in, yes, the 270 caliber. And I know a lot of you guys out there are probably shaking your heads right now thinking, Matt, what's wrong with you? Can't believe you bought a dinosaur caliber, especially when we got all these fancy new cartridges out there that are hitting the market. We got our 6.5 Creedmoors, our 7 PRCs. Why'd you go with the 270? But let me explain that. Just hear me out if you would. That's what I'm going to talk about here in this video, is just the thought process and the logic behind why I chose the 270. All right, so first off, kind of big picture, as I went into this, I knew I wanted to upgrade my deer hunting rifle. And at first I thought I would do sort of an all-in-one gun, meaning I could take it out west if I want to go mule deer hunting with it. I can hunt here in northern Minnesota where I'm taking 100-yard shots in the woods. But the more research I did into all of the calibers, the ballistic coefficients, the trajectory considerations, the more that research I did, the more I realized that I didn't want to do an all-in-one gun. Because a lot of those newer cartridges or your Magnum cartridges, like your 300 Win Mag or 7 PRC or 28 Nosler, a lot of those are geared for those long range shots and they kick really hard. And I just didn't need that much power for hunting northern Minnesota in a heavily wooded situation where my average shot was going to be 100 yards through the woods, right? So, there was something that appeals to me about these bigger Magnum cartridges. I think for all men and maybe women too, there's just something about having the biggest and the baddest that's kind of cool, and that appeals to me. But, as I really did the research and got into it, it's amazing what you would learn online from mule deer and elk hunting guides out west. They just laugh and they write on these forums that they have all kinds of stories about people coming from out east. They buy the pretty boy, the big boy cartridges like the 7 PRC or the 300 Win Mag, 28 Nosler. They come out west to go elk hunting with them and they can't hit the broadside of a barn. And they developed a flinch when they were practicing back home because these things kick so hard. And I just thought, I can't be that guy. There's no way that I can. I just don't need that much power from some of these Magnum cartridges for here in Minnesota when I'm shooting 100 to 200 yards at whitetails. So ultimately, I opted away from the bigger sort of long range type cartridges. And, a lot of you might be thinking, well, Matt, yeah, but you can just throw a muzzle brake on your rifle. And that's true, you can, to reduce recoil. But when you throw a muzzle brake on your gun, it gets really, really loud. And I have damaged my hearing as it is. I grew up duck hunting. I've been duck hunting for almost 30 years now. And we never wore ear protection all the years growing up since I was about 6 or 7 years old. And, we would hunt out of duck boats with multiple guys over decoys, hunting over water. And we had the 12 gauges just singing away and banging away all fall, many weekends throughout the whole duck season all fall. And so I've done a lot of damage to my hearing, and I want to preserve what little bit of hearing I have left. So, the muzzle brake thing, yeah, you can wear earmuffs, but that's not really that practical for me. Again, hunting deer up in northern Minnesota, trying to dink around with earmuffs, it's just not going to work. This is kind of a cool spreadsheet that breaks down all your common hunting calibers, and it just does a straight comparison on things like muzzle velocity, trajectory, recoil, things like that. It's just kind of a nice all-in-one location for this information. And you can see a lot of these red highlighted ones under the recoil column have just crazy, crazy recoil. They kick really bad. Your 300 Win Mag, your 28 Nosler, 7 PRC, all these calibers, I just sort of pushed them off the table because I thought, you know what, I just don't need that for a deer gun up in northern Minnesota. If one day I get into hunting out west more and I want to do the muley thing more often or elk, well, then maybe I'll look at one of these Magnum cartridges then, but I'll cross that bridge later when I get there. So that really boiled the list down to me. Once I had gotten to that point, I really had things boiled down then to Really, it was the 30-06, the 270, the 308, 6.5 Creedmoor, stuff like that. And that was kind of the list on the table at that point that I was going to pick from. So at that point, what pushed me to the 270 and why not a 30-06, for example? The answer is I wanted to keep my options open to shoot copper ammo. And there's been a lot more and better innovations with copper nowadays than even 5-10 years ago. You can still shoot copper ammo out of any of these calibers. It's becoming a lot more common now, but copper loves speed. And so I wanted to go with something that just had a little bit more zip on it. The 270 on average with factory ammo is going to be shooting 100 to 150 feet per second faster than your 30-06. You can play with these numbers, and of course there's different grain sizes, right? I mean, you could be shooting a 150 grain bullet out of a 270 or 150 grain bullet out of a 30-06. So you got to think about all the comparisons. But ultimately, I wanted that little bit faster bullet. Online people say you can get full copper bullet performance, meaning the bullet's going to mushroom properly and deliver energy to the animal properly, all the way down to 1,600 feet per second. And in some cases, people will say even lower, like 1,200 feet per second. But personally, I think that's way too slow. I think you need that bullet going 2,400 feet per second, ideally, or faster to get full performance out of copper bullets. Why do I want to shoot copper bullets? It's not so much because of the, save the environment and save the loons kind of a thing. It's more so just for just the performance of copper. It is better than lead in as long as you have that speed to get full deployment. I'm not against if there's less lead in the environment. That's probably a good thing. Saving the eagles and the loons and things, I suppose that's probably a good thing. But the main driving reason is because of the weight retention of these copper bullets. So lead has a tendency to fragment and break apart in the deer, especially some brands are worse than others too. These copper bullets, this is one that I shot at a milk jug at 100 yards. These have almost 100% weight retention. It's not perfect, but meaning this was a 129 grain copper bullet that I shot at a water jug. If I were to weigh this now, this would be almost 129 grains, way, way closer to full weight retention than any lead round would be. So I really like it for that reason. And so you should be able to drive these copper bullets through the deer where you're getting that blood trail, an entry wound and an exit wound on both sides of the deer, going through bone, tissue, muscle, all that. Whereas if you think about lead bullets, they can kind of fragment where you get that entry wound on the deer, but then you might not have an exit wound, or the bullets may, go different directions as it breaks apart, that lead. So that's why I really liked the idea of copper. And cleaning deer throughout the years, there have been instances where we found lead fragments in the meat way far away from where we've shot the deer, which is a little bit concerning. I got a bunch of young kids at home now, and I kind of like the idea of less lead in the meat. I think that's probably a good thing. So that's another reason why I just want to be able to shoot copper. And, it's really improving the technology on this. I shoot the Barnes LRX version. I ordered these on Midway USA. I paid for it with my own money. Nobody gave me this. It's just what I like. But I paid way too much for this. It's crazy expensive. That's one of the drawbacks to copper, but I just really like the performance and the whole idea behind it. So that's ultimately what kind of pushed me back to the 270 instead of the 30-06, was just having that ability to have a little bit faster, that 100, 150 feet per second, faster bullet downrange. It's just going to carry out my effective copper bullet range a little bit further. So, with these Barnes, and this is just factory ammo, over the counter, I got a 24-inch barrel on my rifle. They're saying these are going 3,140 feet per second at the muzzle. So that's screaming fast for a 270. So I should be, with those bullets, I should be able to carry that 2,400 feet per second bullet speed out to 300 yards. And after that, it's dropping below. But that's kind of the thought process behind it. I want to hear from you guys if you have experience with copper ammunition. 270 versus 30-06. I love hearing and talking with other guys on good experiences, bad experiences. You know, I have heard from a few guys who say that they're afraid of shooting copper because it can pencil through the deer, or you don't get full deployment. And again, I think that's due to low speed. We have some family friends who shot a couple deer with an old 30-30 lever action, the old Marlins, which is a sweet gun. That's what we all used to use. But they said that it kind of penciled through the deer, meaning like it didn't mushroom and create that big wound channel like we were all used to with lead. And I think in that case, it was just the issue was that bullet was traveling too slow. They didn't have that bullet speed that they needed with the 30-30. So again, another reason why I like that 270 is just going to be a faster bullet, get better performance out of your copper. But again, the technology has really come a long ways, especially with these LRX bullets from Barnes. They make these, that stands for long range. So they make these a little bit softer where that polymer tip pushes into the copper and those 4 petals open up. They make it a little bit softer so that you get better performance further down range with copper. So just kind of my thought process on that. And you know, this is a fun debate. I know everybody will argue tooth and nail till the day we all die on what the best deer hunting caliber is. These are my reasons. It doesn't mean I'm right. The bottom line, you guys, is all these guns kill deer. They'll all, you know, any of them will work. And there's even days where I think maybe I should have went with the 30-06. But I think the 270 was a good choice. I think this is a great deer killing machine right here. Let me know in the comments why you guys have the caliber that you do. I want to hear from you guys on that. I really do love this CVA rifle. It's got the full Cerakote dipped barrel, which is awesome. So it's not going to pit or rust on me there. The other reason why I bought the CVA rifle was because it has that removable butt pad spacer. So I was able to shorten my length of pull. And so I'm a small statured guy as it is. I'm kind of a little sawed off Swede, you know, and so I need that real short length of pull right here. And so I took that spacer out. Plus, with like poofy clothing in the fall, that butt is even further away from your shoulder. So really love this hunting rifle. Love this setup. Let me know why you guys choose your deer caliber rifles, and let me know what you think about my reasons for choosing the 270.